Hello and welcome back to Buckle Up. My name's Jasper and this is a Mini Cooper, and I am here to tell you why this is an excellent car. Now this is a 2014 or third generation of the modern Mini hatchback, and we shall start with some styling at the front, which involves, because this is a premium hatchback, a lot of chrome. Now it is a very fashionable car. You've got a chrome belt line below the windscreen. You've got chrome oval surrounds around your lovely headlamps. You've got a big chrome grille with a nice gloss black plastic centre section, chrome round the lower grille, and a front splitter. Does look a little bit premium and a little bit sporty at the same time. Moving on to the side, you will see one of the iconic things about the Mini, which is its clamshell bonnet, which means when you open it, something a bit weird happens. We've also got some fog lamp clusters and some chunky plastic cladding around the wheel arches, which is there mainly for styling purposes. It gives the illusion of having a much larger wheel than the car actually does. These particular ones are 16-inch alloy wheels, and they're a very nice design, nice gloss black finish to them as well. One important note about the Mini is these wheels are in the very corners of the car. That's the same at the front and the back, and the effect of that is pretty good handling. As we work our way further down the side of the car, you'll see some incredibly stylised indicators, a very stylish wing mirror, some more chrome on the door handles, and, crucially, a lovely contrast glass house and contrast roof. So you do have kind of two distinct parts to the car. You have the body and the roof / glass. This particular car has a panoramic tilt slide sunroof, which is a very nice additional feature. And as we move further around, you'll notice frameless doors, very stylish, tinted rear glass, and this is the 3-door hatch. The 5-door is a little bit more practical, but a lot more ugly. That chrome belt line continues all the way around the back of the car, so you in effect have a chrome rimmed bathtub for the bodywork. At the rear you've got chrome around your Brexit light clusters, your wheels smack bang in the corner of the car, and a single chrome tipped exhaust here, because this is the Cooper, which means it's got a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder petrol engine, which we will discuss in a bit. Now, boot capacity on this is not one of the Mini's strongest points. This is 211 litres with the rear seats in place, and if you fold them down, you can get up to 731 litres of space in the back of the car. And you can adjust your boot floor so you get a completely flat load area from the rear lip of the car all the way to the back of the front seats, meaning it's effectively a van. There are almost no features in this boot. There's a tiny parcel shelf, as mentioned, the false floor, and there is a little bit of storage underneath that floor. You've also got chrome around your rear fog lamp, and if I close this, one other thing that I do really appreciate is the rear washer sprayer is integrated into the spindle for the wiper, which just gives it a very clean back end. You do also get a lovely spoiler that just hangs over the rear glass and adds a little bit of sporty touch to it. You've obviously got your winged Mini badge and the badge down here, Cooper, because this is mid-spec in terms of performance. Back seats. Yay. Oh, ow. The back seats are not a strong point of this car. There's no other way of saying it, to be honest. They are a little bit tight on room. Now, this is a strict 4-seater. There's no middle seat here, so that is one benefit because it's not the widest of cars. But basically, headroom, I'm actually pretty good. So I've got a good headrest. If I pop that up, I can sit upright, no problem. But if the driver was basically any taller than I am, I would have nowhere to put my legs. Now, the owner of this car is quite tall, and when I first got in the car, I had to move the seat quite far forwards. And what I did notice was basically in that seat back position, anybody with legs is not going to fit back here. You're fine if you've got a head, because headroom is actually pretty good, I'd say. But if you've got any form of legs and the driver is taller than 170 odd centimetres, you are going to struggle to fit back here. And it's not particularly easy to even get back here either, because even with the seat folded all the way forwards and moved, the opening to climb through is pretty small. In terms of actual features back here, I've actually got 3 cup holders, which is impressive for 2 people. I've got a little armrest, quite firm plastic there, and I've got a speaker. I've got a seat belt. The seats are a lovely material. It's a nice kind of tweedy fabric with leather and contrast stitching. But in terms of actual features, other than a coat hook and this sunroof, that's basically it. You do, thankfully, have Isofix on both of the outer seats, which has flip-up covers that do not come off, which is good because you won't lose them. But I think that getting a child in and out of a child seat back here would get very tiresome very quickly because of how tight that opening is. So probably not the car to go for if you've got a young family and need to use child seats, but if you've got young small children who are capable of clambering in and out themselves, you'd probably be all right actually, until they grew legs. Let's see if things are improved slightly in the front. And I shall just extract myself. One other excellent thing before the cameraman stops is these seats do remember the position that they are left in when you fold them forwards, which is not always the case in cars that are 3-door, but this one is very good. So the seats do make the slightly arduous process of getting in and out of the back just a little bit easier for you. Well, yes, thankfully up front it's much better. I've got a lot more space for my legs, and in terms of seating position, it's actually really easy to find a comfortable one. There's a lot of adjustability in the seat, and the steering column adjusts for both reach and rake. Also, when you do that, the gauge cluster moves with the column, so you're always able to get a good angle of view at it. Materials in this cabin are a very good point. Lovely leather, lovely appointed plastics, lovely fabric and lovely leather on the seats as well. Nice contrast stitching. It all feels very premium, very well assembled, and the design is also excellent. It's quite retro in some senses, and it also harks back to Minis of ye olde days, with the large circular element in the centre of the dashboard, and the dashboard itself being quite upright. The switchgear in here is also really good. You've got airline pilot style toggle switches on the roof for your sunroof, lights, and for your ignition down here. This has climate control, dual zone, no heated seats though, but they were an optional extra. Window switches on previous generations of Minis had been in the centre down here, but in this one they put them on the door card, which is good. It's really the most natural place for them to be. And you've got a range of buttons on the steering wheel, which in terms of their position and layout is similar to BMWs of this era, weirdly, I know. Also, your indicator stalks do that BMW thing where you turn the indicator on, but the stalk actually stays in the centre, which is a bit, don't particularly like that. But they are okay to use once you've noticed that and realised you can cancel them by flicking them in the same direction again. A nice widescreen infotainment display in the centre of this ring with some lovely ambient lighting around it. This is very similar to BMW's iDrive of the era, which means you've got a rotary dial down here to interact with it, and it's all pretty sensible, relatively well laid out, and pretty easy to use. Practicality is also a decent point in this interior. Now, it's not the largest car in the world, and your door bins do reflect that. They are pretty shallow, but you've got nice twin cup holders in the centre. You've got a brilliant armrest that's actually got a storage cubby in the top of it, and it's the perfect height to rest your elbows on. It's also adjustable. There's nothing down here in the centre console. That's just the handbrake and your iDrive controls. Gear stick in the middle, and you've got a pretty good sized glove box. It's not particularly tall, but it is quite deep, so you can get a fair few things in there. There's enough practicality where you'd expect it to be, and it's all very well laid out and easy to use. That's pretty much a running theme with this interior, or this car, you could say. Good design, nicely laid out, well assembled, and just easy to use and live with. Let's see how it drives. Oh. So, how does the Mini Cooper hatch drive? Well, my first impressions are that the control weights in here are all really nice. The pedal feel is great, the gearbox feels good, the steering has a nice bit of weight behind it, which means that you know what's happening. It also feels very connected and really quite sharp. The brakes are good, the accelerator pedal feel is good, and the throttle response is actually brilliant as well. So all in all, in terms of the things you immediately notice and interact with when you're driving, I'd say the Mini has got a lot going for it. Now this has BMW's 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol unit, and that means that you have under your right foot 134 brake horsepower and 220 newton meters of torque, and that torque is available from quite a low figure of about 1200 and something RPM. So that means that this car actually feels surprisingly sprightly. Now a lot of people will turn their nose up at a 1.5 litre engine, especially if it's a 3-cylinder. It is a slightly odd choice, but this engine is actually a bit of a gem because it's bigger than your standard 1 litre 3-cylinder. You get that extra bit of oomph from it, and it's possible to have a bit more torque and the power to come from somewhere, as opposed to feeling like you're really overstretching something. This is an engine that isn't worked particularly hard in this car, so you don't feel like you're really kind of ragging it if you are putting your foot down. And speaking of putting your foot down, the 134 brake horsepower and 220 newton meters of torque are actually really quite good. This car will do 0 to 62 miles an hour in 7.9 seconds, which is actually pretty respectable. It's certainly verging on kind of warm hatch territory, which is brilliant, especially when you consider how well the rest of the driving experience stacks up as well. So the weighty steering, the feel you get in the corners, the positioning of the wheels with respect to the car's body mean that it feels so planted. Now the car is pretty small, and that certainly weighs in its favour. It's quite light. The power available and the torque available mean that, yeah, you can carry some speed in this, and the chassis being as tight and firm as it is means that you can really carry that speed through corners. It's a fantastic little machine for a bit of fun driving. Now, the modern Mini has always been quite a premium hatchback. It is part of the Mini USP in a way, and this car does a very good job of it. I love the interior, the ambient lighting's very nice. I like the analog gauge cluster that still has some digital elements for key bits of information. The center screen is really good, crisp graphics, dead easy to interact with, and the whole cabin feels very premium. The material choice is excellent, it's so well assembled, and I love the styling. Visibility is also really good. So forwards, the windscreen's quite upright. You can see over the bonnet looking out towards the front of the car. The wing mirrors are great. Rear visibility is actually pretty good as well, even though the car is quite small and has a small rear window as a result of that. You can see enough behind you. And it's so chuckable. This car is so capable of putting just a little smile on your face, because you can really rev it and just have quite a lot of fun. I'm really genuinely enjoying this. For such a normal car with a good interior and such an engaging driving experience, it really does seem like it's got to be the best in its segment. There's nowhere else you can get a driving experience that's this engaging and an interior this nice at a relatively affordable price point as well. You certainly do get what you're paying for with the Mini, and I think overall it's really quite good fun, and it's positioned very well in the market. Yet now, yes, it's not the biggest car. It's not designed to be. Interior wise, yeah, you're going to be a little bit cramped if you regularly need to transport quite a few people and quite a lot of things. But in a way, it's kind of stuck to its roots in that regard. Now, yes, obviously the car has grown from the original Mini and even the first generation of the modern Mini, but not excessively so, and not detrimentally so, I'd say. It really does drive incredibly well, and you've got such a good level of fit and finish and luxury in here that I'm struggling to pick faults. I really do think this is an excellent car, whether you're looking for something that's a warm hatchback or whether you're looking for something that's a little bit premium, because it ticks both boxes and it does a very good job at doing so. So yes, that is a summary of the Mini Cooper. Pretty excellent car all round, certainly a really good entry into the premium hatchback market, and a really easy recommendation from me actually, because it drives well, it's got just about enough space in a pinch, and I really like the styling and design. Really an excellent car all round. That is everything for today's video, so thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, there are a few ways linked in the video description, including our lovely merch store, all of our social medias, or you can become a channel member right here on YouTube. I have enjoyed driving this car today, and if you'd like to see more content where that's come from, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the Buckle Up YouTube channel, because we post videos like this 3 times a week. I will see you next time. Bye. And as we move further round, you'll notice it's locked.